Back along with Electric Tuttle, we're just sitting here talking about the wide variety of active weather. These transitional seasons are really big on giving you a little bit of everything. A weather potpourri. We've got severe weather concerns and a little snow to talk about, too.
Exactly. We've got a little bit of everything. And what we want to show you first is the severe weather possibilities in Texas. We've got some heavy thunderstorms. We've seen some reports of large hail and even a couple of reports of possible tornadoes. So these aren't really storms that you want to mess with. So we'll start by taking a look at the satellite picture. All those bright white clouds there in Texas, that indicates some thunderstorms, explosive thunderstorms right underneath there. And this is where we've been seeing the bulk of our severe weather for the overnight. This will continue on into the morning as well. So where can we expect the severe weather? Well, all these areas that we have shaded in red, including Dallas and Fort Worth, stretching back toward Abilene, this is where we're looking at a chance of severe weather for the overnight and on into Saturday morning. So if you're in any of these areas, maybe that's even why you're watching the Weather Channel right now. You may have been awakened by the thunder. You'll need to make sure to keep your guard up. You don't want to just forget about this and go to sleep. If you have a no weather radio that alerts you to severe weather when it occurs, you may want to turn that on because you will need to watch out for the possibility of severe weather. All these areas shaded in orange also have the chance of thunderstorms, although probably not of the severe variety, we don't think. So these thunderstorms we talked about, they have had large hail, up to an inch hail we've seen reports of. We've seen a couple of reports of possible tornadoes, and there have also been some fairly heavy rain. So we're looking at a chance of up to maybe a half an inch in some of these heavier thunderstorms, and that can fall quite quickly and cause some really quick flooding in some low-lying areas. So definitely be mindful of that. So, well, we've seen some stormy weather in the south central states, but the southeast and the southwest, even stretching up the west coast, had a beautiful Friday. I really hope you got a chance to enjoy it. Stretched all the way from the east coast all to the west coast. The whole southern part of the United States, just gorgeous. Really nice temperatures. For your Saturday, much of the same, but for the southeast, this rain is going to start to push eastward as our front moves eastward, bringing the chance of showers for you in Memphis, and then maybe even on into Houston. In the west, temperatures still nice, again, for your Saturday, but you folks in Seattle and Portland have rain to contend with. This is our next storm system that has its eyes on the west coast of the United States. Again, all the bright white clouds, this is the system that's starting to make its way in, and as we go through the day on Saturday, you'll have more of a chance of rain. So through mid-morning on Saturday, it's not looking too bad if you're traveling on I-84 or I-5, maybe just some scattered showers along the California and Oregon coast. But as we move on into your Saturday, starting to see the system looming on the horizon here, and by early evening on Saturday, starting to look at a very good rain chance as you move on towards Seattle or Portland. If you're doing any traveling on Saturday night, you will definitely want to keep this in mind. Now, with the rest of the nation, here's Paul.
A little less wind as our system gets out of the way. We're kind of pushing our clouds away from us. You can see a fairly warm day in spots. 43 to Boston, 57 toward the city. That part's not too bad. I could pick up maybe at least the chance of a little more snowfall here. We did pick up some snow, but do expect to see a bit more overnight in the mid-morning. Maybe the light side of the 1 to 3 inch range. And a little additional snow may scoot through in a hurry, fairly light. The snow showers with this one. More clouds toward New York City and Boston during the day. A few showers toward Philly, but a few flakes flying for Buffalo and in toward Pittsburgh. Midwest, pretty quiet day for us. Chicago made it to 50. Cooler behind the front. 34 toward Minneapolis.
Snowy one in the northeast, looking at a chance of continuing snow showers on your Saturday as the system starts to pull off the coast. A little bit of snow shower reaction back here through the upper Midwest as well as this next piece of energy rotates around. Otherwise, we're looking at a chance of rain in Texas and even on the west coast. Both of these areas looking at a chance of rain showers as you go on through your Saturday. By early evening on Saturday, west coast storm system is going to be right there, bringing rainy conditions to Seattle. If you're headed out to the theater tomorrow night, you will need to bring along a raincoat and an umbrella just to be on the safe side.
Okay, sounds like good advice. You don't need the raincoat if you're indoors now. You want to mention that as well. Let's take a look at some extended forecast conditions for you coast to coast now here on the Weather Channel. Back along with Electric Tuttle, we're just sitting.
you're planning on doing any traveling this late night or early morning, you will need to take a look at this segment and see how the rain and snow is going to be affecting your travel plans. Thank you for joining us for Travel-Wise. We've got a little bit of snow left over in the northeast here as our nor'easter is starting to pull off the coast. Another piece of energy is kind of rotating around this low as well, bringing some snow showers to the upper Midwest, such as Michigan and the UP of Michigan. But our main focus for our travel trouble for the overnight is in Texas and stretching on eastward into Arkansas and Louisiana. We're looking at the possibility of some severe weather for the overnight. We've already seen some large hail and possible tornadoes, public reports of tornadoes out of these storms. So these are definitely serious storms, something you'll want to keep in mind if you're headed out. This red area, which includes the Dallas-Fort Worth metropolitan area, is where we're still expecting the chance of severe weather for the overnight. Orange, that's general thunderstorms, but it's still in the same general area, so you don't want to let your guard down just if you're not in that red area. This whole area definitely needs to keep tuned to the Weather Channel if you can, and also turn on that NOAA weather radio, especially if you have an alert system. So that's really the only area here in the United States that is looking at the chance of thunderstorms for the overnight. But there are some other areas looking at a little bit of scattered precipitation, scattered showers here, stretching through Missouri and Illinois through the morning, but not looking at too big of a deal. Excuse me. For the upper Midwest, then, looking at snow, as we talked about, and also some wind. So some of these areas looking at not only some falling snow, but also wind, and so that can cause some low visibilities if you are traveling, and also, of course, slick roadways with the snow. So that is something you will need to keep in mind if you are traveling in Michigan. This windy travel is also stretching back toward Madison, Milwaukee, and Minneapolis. So if you are driving a high-profile vehicle, you'll want to keep that in mind. Northeast still looking at some wind as well as the system makes its way off the coast, and also down into Oklahoma and Texas as our front makes its way through. We are seeing some windy travel and windy conditions. Foggy travel, South Texas, looking at very stagnant air, very moist down there, and looking at the chance of fog, so do be very careful if you're headed out tomorrow morning. For the west, looking pretty good, except for right here on the coast, starting to get the chance of rain by mid-morning on Saturday. Southeast, as we talked about, thunderstorms in Texas, and then stretching on toward the east. The further east you go, then for your Saturday, the more chance you'll get of thunderstorms later in the day, such as Atlanta and Birmingham. Looking at the upper Midwest, once again, scattered showers through parts of central Illinois, and then snow if you're traveling on I-75, stretching through Michigan. And then in the Northeast, still looking at some lingering snow showers. Stay tuned.
Fun.
Your weekend could be a rainy one for those of you in Houston and Dallas. Thanks for joining us for this weekend outlook here on the Weather Channel. Taking a look at your Saturday weather, looking at thunderstorms and rain stretching all the way from Texas, stretching up toward West Virginia and even up toward the D.C. area. Then to the north of that, looking at snow showers in the colder air. Not too heavy, not as heavy of snow as you've seen lately in the Northeast, so that's good news. Maybe you can get out and enjoy some of those snow sports such as skiing or sledding. Otherwise, the rest of the United States, northern plains looking pretty good for your Saturday, but the west coast, especially the coast of California, Oregon, even stretching up into Washington, looking at the chance of rain, especially as you go further on the day on Saturday as our next storm system makes its way in. As far as your temperatures go, not looking too bad in the southern part of the United States, actually really nice, stretching all the way from the east coast down into Florida, through Texas, and all the way up the west coast. We're looking really nice, starting to get some of that spring fever, feeling kind of nice out there. But by contrast, in the northern states, only getting into the teens for your highs on Saturday in International Falls. By Sunday, looking better in terms of temperatures. That is the good news, but still rather chilly. This is way below normal, looking at sometimes 10 to 20 degrees below what it usually is at this time of year. So do be mindful of that. If you're headed out on Sunday, make sure to bring that hat and the gloves and the scarf. South still looking pretty nice for your temperatures for Sunday, but looking at chance of rain in parts of North Florida. Snow showers hanging tough in the Northeast for your Sunday, so may still be a snowy one also in Michigan as some of these lake-enhanced snow showers start to take hold.